Welcome to Omnisport, the ultimate African sports audio channel. Live and on demand at omniaudio.africa and streaming data free on the MTN network in South Africa. It's where Africa comes to play. Romy Titus and Kevin McCallum. Not the sports news. Not the sports news.
Coming back. Here we go. This is Hook.
Africa with Romy Titus
Is a Hook.
and Kevin
Now you
McCallum.
can watch good content.
You can go now because you didn't have your headset on, so you spoke over our little jingle there.
Sorry, I've been watching all this crap over the weekend that says
see so.
this is a hook. And what's really got my goat is that there's lots of people like us who have great content, and like Mtor from the Far Post who has great content, and yet the way to get people's attention is to go, this is a hook.
Listen, I'm from Boksburg. A hook is something very different.
Yeah.
That's where you wake up in the street the next day.
Yes,
Yeah.
a right
sure.
one and a good left one
And
also.
a little bit, a couple of jabs in
Mto,
between.
please help me. Please help me here. Help me.
Okay.
And he just laughs.
Royal AM, what? I mean, it's a mess. Well, it always has been a mess, but it's more of a mess now. I mean, what's your take on it?
It's a mess. I think you've put it so well. I mean, we were looking and thinking, just calculating and saying, if the club is bought now, maybe then the remaining fixtures will be played. And then all of a sudden, we are told that the deal collapsed.
Yeah.
There's no deal because the potential buyer couldn't pay the money. And we've already seen now, I think about 5 players from Royal AM have joined different clubs. In fact,
Yeah.
6 players who've, already to different clubs. So it's even a deeper mess because they couldn't sign players for the last 2 seasons because of the transfer ban.
Look,
Now
I don't.
players are actually moving.
I don't blame them for jumping ship as well and finding a new home. But surely the curator should have had, if it isn't only Roy Moodley, surely there's, positions 2 and 3 that are open in the event that something falls through. So is there word on who could be next in line?
Look, there's no word. Look, in terms of who could be next in line, but what I also read over the weekend is that the Moodley family says the deal hasn't collapsed. They gave an interview and they basically said the deal hasn't collapsed. They are still in. They said they're still negotiating.
But how are you still in, though, if it is that the curator finds loopholes and says pay at this time and you don't? Because now it just screams that you cannot afford the club, or it screams something similar to perhaps Mamkize where, look, you really haven't won us over. We cannot trust you, because why not just follow the process as it's stipulated?
Yeah, look, I think let's say they had paid the money by 10 a.m. On Thursday, and then at 11 a.m. the PSL would have said also just to just check who this person is who wants to buy the club. Now the controversies around the Moodley family as well would be a cause for concern, because there's just a lot.
It's a lot going on. It is a mess, as we said, Mto, and it would have been really nice for us to speak very differently about the club this week, and it still hangs in the balance. Let's talk about fixtures and obviously double bookings, or book and don't book, because now what is happening exactly in terms of Sundowns, their fixture on Tuesday, but I don't know, it all depends on rugby?
Yeah, I saw that.
Look, the moment you mentioned double, booking, I'm thinking of the Lucas Moripe mess. And as I speak to you, I'm actually at Sundowns now, so we'll definitely be able to get a full picture of what's happening. But it's for me, I think it's the same issue that we saw 2 or 3 weeks ago, where there was a double booking at Lucas Moripe. Surely Sundowns should know, that these facilities are used by other people, and they should obviously do their checks and ensure that indeed the venue is available. But also, there was a match on Saturday at Loftus Stadium, and I'm actually asking myself questions. Is the pitch in good condition
I
after
agree, yeah.
the rugby game? So, this is a big CAF Champions League match. Surely the planning must be much better. We need to do better in terms of planning, honestly.
But I mean, everything is in disarray, even when it is that you know about the fixtures. Then there's Royal AM catch-up games that we actually don't know about. Then there's games in hand which Pirates have. How are we going to get to the end of the season with the 15 and a half
In an
teams
ambulance
that
at
we
the
have?
moment. I mean, that's what it looks like. It's an ambulance. I mean, there's fixtures that. From what I understand, if Royal AM doesn't get sorted out by basically tomorrow, April Fool's Day, then we can't then they
Finish the league
can't
properly.
finish the league in the time.
Yeah, how do you foresee it, Timto? Because then there's also the promotion and relegation, the playoffs that are coming.
Yeah, look, that's a bit of a challenge because let me also tell you, if the season has to go beyond May into June, you've got players whose contracts are out at the end of May, so it causes
Good
problems
point,
also for
actually.
the club.
Yeah.
Because this player is out of contract by then, but they still have to play. It means you now need to find a way of compensating them. If they get injury, becomes a bit of a problem. So I don't.
I feel you
It's
on
a
that.
mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, and it's one that shouldn't have happened. I keep using these two words and due diligence. Why is due diligence not done on people who want to buy a team? So it wasn't done when Liverpool were bought by Gillett and Hicks from the family that owned Liverpool, and then it was done whenever the guys from Boston Red Sox bought it, and it has been done now for Newcastle, and they haven't been able to buy a player in the transfer window for the last three windows because of due diligence and the money that they throw in. And it's due diligence, and the PSL doesn't seem to have it unless, of course, you're Irvin Koza or Kaiser Chiefs and Jessica Motwangi. Due diligence isn't done at levels underneath those two clubs for me. I don't see it happening.
You think, Mto?
Look, I think the challenge with local football is that you may not have too many options in terms of people that want to spend that kind of money and buy a team. I mean, it's different from England, where you could have, the royal family from Qatar, for instance, wanting to buy Manchester United. So the options are a bit. There's not too many options in terms of people. You can't really, when you have so many options, you can actually choose and say, okay, no, I want this one. I don't think there's too many options, honestly. When you look at this Royal AM thing, I think it must tell you that there isn't so many options. People that genuinely have money and are able to sustain the club. But also, when you look at in Europe, a club owner knows they're going to get money out of the club. But here you need to cough up money. It's not cheap to run a club. It's and I see a lot of business people that get into football. They don't have a full understanding of what it takes and how much it costs to run a football club in a month, and you don't get that money back.
Yeah, and I think it's more of
PSL
like a
grant you
nice to
get-
have.
It's not a hobby.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not a
I won
hobby.
a club.
Yeah.
Look at me, I own a club. Mto, in your opinion, do you feel that as a journalist with a vested interest here in football, local football, that the PSL have guided you every step of the way, that they have been forthcoming, that they have really been kind and caring, if you would, to those that want football in terms of the saga?
Look, a lot of things, obviously done in secrecy. I mean, you bits and pieces. You know how it is here. The communication is never, really clear, especially to the media, and I'd imagine to clubs as well. I mean, I've asked. I think sometime last year when they had their AGM, there was an announcement that there will be an increase in the grant. So I followed up early this year to say, have you guys received that increase? So the clubs are not aware when this thing will actually kick in. So yeah, it's I think it tells you the full story. You won't get good
Yeah.
communication from the PSL.
So basically, the answer is no, the long way around, Mto, but thank
But
you.
that's the wrong way of running a business or in a club. Waiting for a grant. Build your own finances. Build your own financial stability.
But I guess not as easy as I guess we're saying. I think she should just do a Section 200, go to SARS, ask, pay what she can, and hey, we call it quits, but that's just me. Mto, thank you so much.
Not going to happen.
But don't you want to do your hook again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we do it. Here's 5 reasons why Royal AM are not going to get sold.
1, they owe 40 million.
Here's 5 reasons why Royal AM are going to shit. One
2.
more. Huh?
No, we counted out.
what's the
Throw
second
it in.
reason?
2.
No, you've done one. You can't keep doing 5.
You do the reasons.
It's not 15.
Okay, go ahead.
Reason number 3.
Chocolingam did not pay the money. That's the Moodley family.
They owe 40 million rand.
At 10 a.m. on Thursday. 3.
Number 5.
Aibo.
Yes, your maths is about as good as Mama Kezi's. We'll be back, I think, tomorrow with more reasons than
No, we
can
are
think
back
about.
tomorrow, not you think.
No,
At 8:30.
Maybe, you never know.
Mampara of the week.
Oh,
Till
yes.
then.
And well done, Royal M. I think you've made it again.
Cheerio.
Romy Titus and Kevin McCallum. Not the sports news.